So I'm making a video on whether or not having the side panel on or off is better for GPU and CPU thermals. The idea is having this side panel on is better for maintaining a positive pressure or just an airflow across components inside the PC, or whether just having the side panel off would allow you to have better ventilation and airflow. I don't know. Who knows? So is having the side panel on or off better or worse? So we're talking about having the side panel, if it had holes in it, would that improve thermals? So, anyway, here's my CPU settings. It's set at 4.35 gigahertz. The RAM is all set. The core voltage is manually set to 1.325 with an offset, blah, blah, so, yeah. SoC has an offset. The voltage is manually set. LLC is set to level 2. There's my settings for everything else, if you care to look at it. Whatever. So there is going to be some V-droop. So that's the setting on that. The fans are all set to turbo. So they're all set to their max fan speed. The CPU fan, which is these two fans plus the front two fans, share the same fan. The CPU fans are plugged into CPU. The front fans are plugged into CPU optional. And they share the same profile. Whatever, they're all set to full blast. The back fan is set to the AIO pump thing, I think. So I disabled that so that I'll run full bore. And there is a top 144mm fan you can see up there. And that is on chassis fan 1, I think. I just set that to turbo so that runs at full speed. Got it. Okay, so those are the settings in the BIOS for the fan speeds and the CPU settings. Alright, so I'm in the desktop here. The GPU fan is set to 70% static, as you can see. So there's no auto fan going on there. I'm going to run OCCT with the OCTT settings. Anyway, you can see that the CPU is sitting at 1.325 volts. It's going to reset the sensors, and I will, after 5 minutes after that, so after 15 minutes have passed, I'll take the average of the CPU temperature. Since, about after 10 minutes, it'll all kind of settle down and get a nice average. And then after 5 minutes after that, just in case it's using any different, any sort of different load on the CPU, that'll all average out after 5 minutes. And then I'll take the average, anyway, of the CPU, and we'll see what we get. The afterburner, the temperature in the GPU fluctuates a lot, so I'll have to just kind of estimate a value on that. But it, like I said, it does fluctuate wildly in this test. I could do Furmark or something. That's a more constant load on the GPU, but I don't want to use it because it can brick GPUs. You shouldn't use that because it's a power virus. I don't know. I don't want to risk losing my GPU over it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so we're at the 15-minute mark of OCCT running. I did change the settings on Heaven Benchmark. I changed the anti-aliasing to 8 times and the tessellation to ultra or high or whatever the max setting is, because as you can see on the left side, it's kind of passing now. The GPU usage was all over the place. Now it's a little more, I don't know, towards the 80%, if you want to average it out. The max temperature on the GPU is 59, but really, I mean, it's starting to stable out. stabilize. Let's just call it 58. We'll look at that in a minute. The CPU temperature from the 10-minute mark on to now is 72.7 degrees. Yeah, and that seems to be going up as we're talking, so maybe I'll record a little more after this. See where the GPU temperature stabilizes out at. It looks like it's going to be about 59 degrees is where it stabilizes. I just went to 60. I will, you know what, I think I might just wait a couple more minutes and see where we get. Alright, so I'm at the 20-minute mark of OCCT running, and since the 10-minute mark I have reset the average, or reset all the sensors on the CPU. And we're running, it's like 73.5. Let's just call it 73.5 for the CPU. For the GPU, I don't know, it's kind of hard to tell where the average is on this. So the max was like at 62. I'm at this part of the benchmark, and this is where the temp is at. And I don't know, if I had to pick an average of all this, you know, somewhere between 58 is probably pretty, where it's at now is probably about the average, right? 52, well, whatever, I don't know. It dips down to the, we could call it 59. I think 59 would be pretty fair. 59 degrees average on the GPU while running this in a windowed. I'm going to keep the same settings for the other bench. So 59 degrees, we'll call it 59. Whatever. I don't know, you know. 59, 58, somewhere around there for the average of this GPU, whatever. 58. We'll call it 58. To be a little fair. And 73.5 for the CPU. And that is with the side panel on. So 73.5 for the CPU, 58 for the GPU with the side panel on. That's after 22 minutes of running these benchmarks. So we will see how the temperatures behave with the side panel off. Okay, so I'm going to start the test again. I have the side panel off. It's much brighter. I kind of like the way this looks with the, oh my god, so much dust. Anyway, point is, nothing has changed other than the side panel coming off. I'm going to reset all the values here. I'm going to reset, well, I don't really need to reset the values there. They'll tick over. Whatever. We're going to start. So these are the settings I changed to. You got 8 times anti-aliasing. Extreme tessellation, ultra quality, 1600 by 900 in a windowed mode, whatever, so I can get all this stuff going. And we're gonna start this on. Okay, we'll start the OCCT. We're gonna start. I'm trying to do this through my phone while watching. We're gonna start this. Run it for 10 minutes, and then I'm going to reset the values on hardware info so that from 10 minutes to 20 minutes, we'll get the average CPU temperature. Alright. Okay, see you back in about 20 minutes. Alright, we're coming up on 10 minutes with the side panel off. Yes, side panel off. 10 minutes. So I'm going to reset the min-max values for all the hardware info stuff. It was higher than this like 2 seconds ago. It was at like 72 degrees. Now it's at the average is 69, 70. Yeah, it's whatever. So the GPU is right at 54. It's been higher than that. obviously. But we're going to keep things consistent. We're going to stop it at 20 minutes. When that hits 20 minutes, and we're going to see what, our roughly averages are of the GPU and the CPU, and we'll see if they vary at all. They might be pretty much identical. The room is also probably heated up a degree. Since I've been doing this, I've had the doors closed. I just opened the doors to the room. Anyway, I don't know. We'll see if there's a difference at all. It's kind of looking like there's not going to be much of a difference between having a side panel on and side panel off. Those are some, pretty powerful fans, especially going full bore. I got a nice CPU cooler. The GPU cooler is okay for the card that it is. I'm just not sure that it makes much a difference either way. I don't know whose point that proved, but anyway, we'll see after this gets to 20 minutes where we're at. All right, bye. All right, so I've been running this for about 20 minutes now. The GPU temperature, I don't know what you want to make of this. 59, it's been going down. Whatever, let's just take there. That's probably about average, right? 54, we'll call it 54, 55, I don't know. 54 degrees on the GPU. The CPU is pretty much the same. I mean, $72.1. I don't know. Yeah. So maybe a degree less on the CPU and about 4 degrees less on the GPU. That's with the side panel off. Is it a big difference? No. Not a big difference. On the GPU, there's some, I don't know. Then again, I mean, look at the GPU usage. It's kind of all over the place. It's hard to get a consistent 100% GPU usage with the with the CPU being full 100%. So I don't know. Slightly cooler on the GPU, maybe slightly cooler on the CPU, although it's pretty close to where you could say it's margin of error. Slightly cooler, I would say, with the side panel off. And this is with the side panel on, this case has good airflow. Especially when you have two 140mm fans in the front. These things put out a lot of air. So it's going to blow straight across all of that, across the whatever. So if you have a good optimized airflow in your case, and by the way, the mesh on this case usually has a filter in front of the grill. I took that out. So that is completely removed. So the airflow coming into the front of the case is just that mesh. There's no filter. I took that off. So I can get better airflow through the case. So this is about as best case scenario as you can get for this case. So taking the side panel off did improve things. It did improve things very marginally, but I think that just kind of goes to disprove the idea that having a side panel on is going to, increase your airflow across everything. It's going to help with the pressure or whatever. Whatever, man. I mean, it's all airflow. So as long as the airflow gets through, that's fine. If it has more fresh air to take in from wherever, in this case, it's taking fresh air in from the side, that's going to improve thermals. And this case is pretty well optimized to where it's not going to make that big of a difference if the side panel's on or off. because it's a good case. It's got good airflow from the front. So as long as you have good airflow from the front, you have two good fans or whatever, it's going to create a bunch of airflow through. If you have shitty airflow from the front to the back, taking that side panel off is going to make a huge difference. Huge. Not 4 degrees on the GPU and like 1 on the CPU. It's going to be bigger. A lot bigger. So that's what I have to say about that. Bottom line is, if your airflow from the front of the case to the back is good, having the side panel on or off, not going to make a big deal. If your airflow is cut off from the front, if you don't have good airflow, having that side panel off is going to make a giant difference. Yeah. But anyway, have a good one.